Guys, it's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Trading Week Recap, a series I post every Friday. We're reflecting the past trading week. We'll take a look at a few stocks and sectors that define the week for me personally, and of course, we'll check out some news. So, as always, we'll go over each topic that we're going to be discussing, then we'll dive into each one individually. In front of us, the usual TradingView, SPX, SP 500. I will let you guys know what I'm thinking about the equity indices. Just right off the bat, real quick, I'll tell you where these arrows are. So, this is bearish divergence. This is when the chart, the price action, the price is going up, but an indicator, whichever one you choose to use. It's not the RSIs in this case, but it's the volume. So we're seeing definite bearish divergence. Price is going up, volume is going down. That's usually bearish. So I'll just say that. The reason I'm kicking it off with that so quick is because I do want to touch on this with you guys at the end. This is probably one of the best TradingView analysis write-ups that I've come across in a while. It's pretty long though, so I will save it for the end. And along with this, we'll close it out with the S&P kind of full analysis on the charts. But again, it's pretty long, so I want to save it to the end. The primary sectors that we will be covering today are, of course, I'm sure you could guess, crypto and biotech. So we will take a look at Bitcoin. We'll cover some articles in regards to Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency sector as a whole, we'll take a quick look around that. We're seeing some green right here right now. It's it's Thursday afternoon, I'm sorry, at the time of recording this Hawaii time. So it's nice to see some green on the board here. Of course, we'll cover biotech, some huge news in that regard. We'll take a look at Sorrento and Moderna. And we'll just kind of go down the watch list here at the end as I cover the SPX at the very end and just give you guys my thoughts on EVs and precious metals, gold, silver, and whatnot. All right, so take a look at that. Again, we will kick it off with biotech in terms of news. So US buys almost all Abbott's $5 rapid tests made this year. If you're involved in the biotech sector, which I assume a lot of you are, huge news. I mean, this is huge news for this sector. Obviously, we saw it reflect in the price action on Thursday in the markets. So we saw a lot of red across the COVID-related biotech sector. I'll let you guys know why that doesn't worry me so much. And that will kind of go along with this news. Okay, so another Bloomberg article, US deaths top 180,000, Abbott jumps on fast test virus update. Okay, so the reason I want to cover this article, we'll just go over a couple paragraphs, some key points real quick, just to reestablish and kind of reinforce the fundamental arguments for what made me personally, at least, I'm assuming a lot of you as well, the fundamental arguments for what made me like stocks like Moderna and Sorrento in the first place. They're trying to cure the virus. And again, this news right here in regard to Abbott's testing kit, this is just a testing kit. This has nothing to do with a vaccine or a cure or a treatment. So that's something that's very important to keep in mind, and that's a reason that I'm still very bullish personally on Moderna and Sorrento. Okay, after that, that covers biotech. We will then move into some general macroeconomic news. Okay, so huge news within just the entire financial markets. Powell announces new Fed approach to inflation that could keep rates lower for longer. If you guys have been around, you know where I'm going with this one. Inflation, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, use this to segue into some Bitcoin talk. Bitcoin, in my opinion, is hands down the single best inflationary hedge that we have in this market. Okay, it's the most anti-inflationary asset of all time, in my opinion. Okay, so of course we'll talk about this. You guys, I always say that if you want to excel as a trader within even certain sectors, you have to understand, at least in my opinion, the entire macroeconomic landscape. At least have a little finger, a pinky finger on the pulse of the macroeconomic landscape, because that just gives you that much more of an edge in whichever sectors you choose to play. Okay, so we'll cover that. We will then move into, again, Bitcoin talk, go over a trader's analysis of Bitcoin. This kind of coincides with my personal analysis, so I'll just briefly touch on that and just go over a few highlighted things I have here. Okay, so that'll be pretty quick. And once again, we will go over this great write-up by Mr. Folisolas. That's a tough one. I'm not even going to try that one again. Never seen him before, but I read this and I was extremely impressed with very eloquent. He articulated this beautifully. Okay. Someone else who articulated something beautifully. We're going to read my newsletter. Okay, so I'm definitely not. You'll see once I start reading this that's not the case. But this is the way I kick off every Trading Week recap video. We will go over my newsletter, the newsletter I wrote this morning, at least the first half, that is. I'm not going to cover my position changes. But the intro to a lot of my newsletters is usually just how I'm feeling that day. So we'll cover this just because I want to share it with you guys, all right? And that is how we will start this video. So, rough one in the markets. My watch is pretty much a sea of red with a few splashes of green in it. I didn't do too much in terms of trading today. Once I finished updating the portfolio yesterday, I felt very content with my current positions and the balance of things. That said, I did still make a few news-related adjustments, which I'll address below. But first, it's been a while since I've mentioned this, so I feel like I should address it again. I want you guys to understand that I currently have a decent stack of cash sitting on the sidelines that I'm not planning on touching. If you guys have been around, you'd understand my skepticism surrounding the markets. This is what also this touches on. So just general equities I'm talking. Although money can be made extremely quick, which we've definitely seen, money can be lost extremely quickly as well, which we're seeing. Okay, so I mean, yeah, if you've been following the channel, you understand exactly where I'm coming from there. Volatility has become uncomfortably common in this market. Although I'm still extremely bullish on the mid to long-term fundamental prospects of all my positions, the short-term red days still sting. The primary reason I have a solid cash stack isn't necessarily for financial security, but for mental security. I find that I'm significantly less stressed out, have a much easier time thinking rationally, and therefore don't make trash emotional decisions. Remember, guys, a huge part of this game is mental fortitude. Do everything in your power to make sure that noggin is as resilient as possible. Also, I'm going to move that noggin of mine real quick. Whoa, don't make it bigger. Sorry about that. Move that quick. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that I've decided to start taking Fridays off from recording YouTube videos. You know, the Friday newsletter will still 100% be coming through though. I want to keep giving you guys little things that continue to make the subscription worth it for you. Keep things spicy, you know? Anyway, I'll record trading week recaps on Thursday afternoons and post them around midnight Hawaii time. So again, that's about 6 a.m. Eastern time. If there's any wild Friday news or market events, I'll include it in the Waves Weekly that I post on Saturdays. Now let's get down to business. Okay? So that's good for you guys to know, not just the newsletter, but all you guys watching, and I appreciate you guys if you consistently watch. I truly do. Yeah, so I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna give you guys more importantly a break from me. Give you guys just a day of not hearing my voice, which is probably good for both of us, you know. So we'll take kind of half a day off. I'm still posting it at midnight, so technically it's Friday for a lot of you. But yeah, I'll take like a day, about half a day off. All right, so just letting you guys know that. And I didn't mean for this to be such a solid segue into the promo, but as I was reading it, I realized that was a great promo. So check out my newsletter. All right, no. But yeah, complete portfolio daily newsletter, first link in the description. Exactly as it states, all call options, all put options, all stock positions. So that's in a digital portfolio on Teachable right here. Again, we along with that, you will get one of these bad boys in your inbox during market hours every trading day. So you can look forward to that. Again, the 7-day free trial, if you guys didn't hear before, is expiring at the end of the month. So I'm only going to be doing the 7-day free trial at the end of each month for like the last week of each month. So check it out if you're interested. If not, no worries at all, but let's get down to business. All right, so once again, SPX, you're seeing the bearish divergence here. That, from a technical perspective, is not good. You can see the stochastic RSI curling down. The RSI is about as high as you want it to be. Last time the RSI was this high, we did see a significant pullback in the S&P back in June. So, I mean, all the indicators are looking like we should see a pullback in the S&P. Look at it though, there's been so much consistent green on the daily chart that it's about due for a pullback, so it wouldn't surprise me at all. And again, this definitely coincides with this from a fundamental perspective. So, but again, we'll cover that in the end because it's long. Anyway, let's get into biotechs. Bloomberg, US buys almost all Abbott's $5 rapid test made this year. Just read the highlights in a quick paragraph for you guys. Company received FDA approval for test called a game changer. Government to pay about $750 million for 150 million tests. Very cheap. The U.S. government is buying almost all the $5 COVID tests Abbott Laboratories plans to produce this year, purchasing 150 million of the tests that were cleared yesterday and can be run in just 15 minutes. Under the agreement, the government will pay $750 million for 150 million tests. According to the people familiar with the deal, the company was granted an emergency authorization on Wednesday, and public health officials quickly agreed to the new test, which works without relying on laboratory equipment. Could help ease delays. Didn't read that correctly, but could help ease delays that have crimped much of the nation's testing capacity. Anyway, you guys, I'm sure you've heard the news. I'm sure you've dug deeper in this. I do recommend, especially if you guys are involved in the sector, that you do go on to read more articles about this if you haven't yet. I mean, huge news. This is a net positive for humanity. I'm sure we can all agree with that, right? But as we saw, it was bad for some of the stocks that we talk about here on the channel a lot. So we'll use that to touch on Sorrento right now. Let's find it. Should have it higher up on my watch list, to be honest. But Sorrento, you can see, was down 4% today. Just so much. Sorrento has been seeing some pain lately. But you guys remember, like, it may seem like it's been so long that Sorrento has been red, which, you know, it has been if you're newer to the game, if you haven't been trading a whole lot. But remember, you guys, this applies to almost every stock that I'm seeing red in currently. I'm sure a lot of you are as well. This is a blip in time. So we started this correction on Sorrento just about 2 weeks ago, a little over 2 weeks ago, and that is a long time on the day-to-day basis. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, This is a lifelong game. Understand, you guys, this is a blip in time. Okay, so this really doesn't matter if you're confident in the fundamental prospects of the stocks I'm investing in. I'm talking about your investing in whatever. Okay, and that's my take on it. Okay, so Sorrento, once again, it is bouncing around. We're on the daily, so this looks a little wild, but I think I'll look at almost every chart we're looking at on the daily here. You know, we'll move to 4-hour, good old 4-hour candles to get that mid to long term time horizon accurate, in my opinion. Okay, so you can see here Sorrento did close exactly on this line that we've had drawn here. Makes sense to use this area as a significant line of support and resistance. More resistance in July, like across the entirety of July, honestly, prior to that huge breakout. So it makes sense that we came down here. We're bouncing off this line. We're on it right now. And again, you guys, with such sharp moves up and sharp moves down, it only makes sense. Like, think about bouncing a ball. I know it's not, obviously that's a terrible reference if I'm trying to rationalize that, but I mean, the laws of nature apply everywhere you look. Okay, that's a lot of what technical patterns is. It's psychological patterns. It's how the human mind and humans are trading these stocks. Okay, and that's what shows on the charts. All right, anyway, big move up, big move down. A lot of times it's not uncommon. Another reason I say that is because I played so many damn bubbles in my day, and I'm just so used to seeing this pattern. So huge move up, you see the bubble pop, move down, capitulate a little bit, it's going sideways. It wouldn't surprise me in the least, and I'm actually expecting it. Know this, you guys, my money is on everything I'm saying here. I expect a move up to this area where it spent a lot of time. It was a big area of resistance for Sorrento over the course of this little bubble that occurred earlier this month, around the $14 mark. It's currently at $8, so that would be almost another not quite a 2x, like 80% move up, which is significant, but we've seen crazier things, just like we did at the beginning of this month. Okay, so it wouldn't surprise me at all. Again, I'm betting on it myself that Sorrento, I don't know exactly when any of what I'm saying is going to happen. You guys know that. But over the course of the next couple of weeks, I'll just say that much, that Sorrento will probably hit the $14 mark once again. We'll probably go sideways around there until some banging news is released. Keep in mind, guys, considering this sector is so news related, we could get some good news tomorrow. Again, like we talked about with Sorrento in the last stock talk, there's a lot of options trading, a lot of volume around those $30 September 19th calls, which is super sketchy. So either some insiders have some knowledge that we don't, and they're going to drop some banging news prior to September 18th, or that person is a terrible trader and just betting his life away. Okay, so that said, we'll close it out with Sorrento. I do expect a $14 Sorrento over the course of the next couple of weeks. I'll say that. But as always, I'll keep you guys posted. So we'll cover this article, and then we'll move on to Moderna, and then we'll move on to the inflation stuff. All right. So one more Bloomberg article: U.S. desktop 180,000. Abbott jumps on fast test. Virus update. So again, you guys, this is just to reinforce. For me, at least, this reinforces my beliefs. A lot of times when you're invested in sectors, it's hard to keep your eyes on the prize, hard to really remind yourself of the fundamentals that made you bullish on the sector in the first place when you're seeing so much red days, okay? So red days can really blunt your rationale, kind of as I said in the newsletter, all right? So just read over some quick highlights here. The number of Americans killed by COVID-19 surpassed 180K. Texas passed 12K deaths. That's crazy. California reported virus-related hospitalizations declined to a 2-month low, and Governor Gavin Newsom said he's about to present updated guidelines for reopening the economy. In contrast, Iowa closed bars and night spots for almost a month to encounter the infection spike blamed mostly on young people. France reported the most daily virus cases since March. That's terrible, even as Europe seeks to avoid a repeat of large-scale lockdowns. So we see this again and again, you guys, and that's kind of why this entire area is so polarizing. I remember when I started making these videos months ago, like back in March, when it was obvious shit was hitting the fan. People, like, I saw people in the comments saying this thing's a hoax, this thing isn't reality, and there's still people who think that, which is insane. And I kind of fall on the side of let nature weed them out, because those are the people, like, I take this seriously. I think everyone should take it seriously. Obviously, everyone is getting cabin fever to some extent. Everyone's getting stir crazy. Everyone's inside. Just suck it up. If you're on the opposite side, then suck it up. Understand that this is real, and we should all do everything in our power to, eradicate this as much as possible. And that is what fundamentally made me bullish on these companies initially, is that these guys are trying to take out the number one enemy of the world. These are the save the world stocks, as we've all been calling them. I see them in the comments as well. As we've all been calling these since the beginning. These are save the world stocks. The reopening of our economy, of the global economy. And I know to a lot of you, it may seem like we're in a good economy, but the job numbers just came out. It's another week of 1 million new jobless claims. That's terrible. So even if the stock market's up, and we've established this many times, you guys, the stock market and the economy couldn't be more they're actually negatively correlated. So I mean, you get terrible job numbers. If you see terrible jobs reports and pretty much just bad news economically, you should go long all stocks, because stocks are probably going to go up, and that's how things have been going over the course of like the past few months. Obviously, what we're going to get into about inflation and the Fed printing trillions, obviously don't fight the Fed, whatever. We're going to get into that, but I mean, the stock market is just so dislocated with the economy, okay? So anyway, we'll cover these key developments and then check out Moderna. Global tracker cases top 24 million, deaths past 820K. COVID gag rules that U.S. companies are putting everyone at risk. Virus tests spur political brawl over CDC DOJ inquiry. White House vaccine program hedges bets on different technologies. That's good for Moderna. Goldman Sachs asked staff to return to London office. Cool. Vaccine tracker, where are we in the race for vaccine protection? Merck tells Germans to avoid virus hit areas, including U.S. So these are all just headlines right here, but again, just summarize, this is still very real, you guys, and that's kind of the main point I want to get across. I know to a lot of people, and it can be easy depending on where you live. Again, you can see the different states, different countries, even different areas within a state, like just opinions vary so much, and some people are a lot more angry than other people, and I get it. I empathize with that, but just understand this is still a very real thing, and a lot of people forget that, especially a lot of people in the market, evidently, weekends. And that's why I'm still bullish. Like, weed out the weak in both. I mean, let the sick weed out the weak, and let the market weed out the weak hands. All right. So that said, that might sound a little harsh, you guys. I'm sorry if that came off harsh, but that's just reality. Gotta stay rational in these markets. Okay, so Moderna, again, you guys, did break out of the downtrend. That's super happy to see that. That happened like the day after I made that stock talk. So it did officially break out of this downtrend. Moderna is once again officially in an uptrend. What I believe will happen is that we use this area that was a line of very strong support over the past few months. Once again, as a line of resistance, it will likely hit this area. I'm expecting around the $75 to $78 region. It'll probably bounce down off that, go sideways for a little bit until we get some banging news, which I just have the feeling. Remember, you guys, nothing I'm saying now could play out. I just have the gut feeling. My instincts are telling me that Moderna will, and you guys never fully rely on your instincts. I don't condone that at all. That's why I'm showing you charts as well, not just preaching stuff. But I do think that once that news is dropped, if it is, we will once again retest like very easily this central line that acted as a significant line of support, both support and resistance over the past few months. I think that's a very conservative estimate. That would bring us to about, if it hits at the end of September, to about $110 Moderna. And that's, remember, you guys, my money's on it. Literally, my calls reflect this pretty specifically, my bets here. So $110 Moderna by the end of September would not surprise me. I'll just say that. And of course, I'll keep you guys posted on everything that happens with stock talks and whatnot. Okay, so that is Biotech down. You know, I'll just look down a few. So Sorrento down, AstraZeneca, Novavax. Ooh, Novavax and Vaxar got hit hard today. But again, a lot of this sector did today. So again, you guys, this sector it works in cycles. Once again, I'm only bet the reason I just covered Moderna and Sorrento is because those are the only two I've been playing, and the only two I'm like. Moderna is my vaccine play, set in stone. Sorrento is my treatment play, set in stone. And once again, even though Abbott has those test kits, I don't think it's that bad for Sorrento, because Sorrento, the initial reason I was interested in Sorrento is because they work on a treatment as well. I've been saying they take a multi-pronged approach. That's why I like Sorrento. They were working on a test kit, came very far with the test kit. Even in regards to the test kit, Abbott isn't going to be able to manufacture test kits for the entire world. There's room for one more. There's room for more, I should say. They don't have the first mover advantage now, Sorrento that is, which does kind of dent the process. That's a bummer. But there's still room in the market for an effective test kit. And fundamentally, like all the news that we've read together about Sorrento's test kit, very bullish. The news in their treatments, very bullish. So, I mean, I'm very bullish on Sorrento still. Okay, so. That's Moderna, that's Sorrento. Let's move on to this, once again, macroeconomic news. Powell announces new Fed approach to inflation that could keep rates lower for longer. This is huge news in the financial markets. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell announced a major policy shift Thursday to average inflation targeting. That means the central bank will become more inclined to allow inflation to run higher than the standard 2% target before hiking interest rates. In addition to the inflation change, the Fed shifted its approach to employment in a way that will focus on those at the lower end of the income spectrum. So this is good. We're not really going to touch on this last statement, but that's good on the Fed. And again, the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, has an extremely hard job. It's so hard to manage keeping the economy floating, not ruining millions of lives, because that would be the reality. Although I don't condone like just the money printing. It's bad. It's putting putting a band-aid on a broken leg, if you guys get that analogy. But it's a short-term fix, and I get it, because there would be so much pain right in so many people's faces if they weren't printing trillions, if they weren't just giving so much out to people. But I mean, at some point you have to kind of let it play out. It's good. It's always better for the long term if you let things play out naturally, if you let kind of the natural capitalistic nature of society to play out. But again, it's a hard job. I won't say any more there. That said, with printing trillions of dollars, I don't care. I've read and heard all of the deflationary arguments. I don't find that they hold any weight. I think that it is inevitable, not tomorrow, not the next day, and maybe not next month, maybe not even this year, but at some point in the somewhat near future, like I'm talking like medium to long term future, so 6 to 12 months, we will see noticeable signs of inflation. And once again, you guys, that Bitcoin, the scarcest asset on the planet, while trillions are being printed, Bitcoin back in May just experienced the halving, which cut its new supply in half. There's only 18 million Bitcoin in circulation right now. There will only be 21 million as long as computers exist, which is probably going to be as long as humans exist, to be honest. Bitcoin, digitally scarce, the only provably scarce asset in the world aside from time. Just the obvious play in my mind. And again, you guys, Bitcoin's still young. So many people still don't know about Bitcoin. They just think about it as magical internet money still. But once people, it's all about adoption, you guys. Once people truly understand the fundamental prospects of Bitcoin in a world that is printing trillions of dollars of fiat currency, while worlds are printing trillions of dollars and yuan and whatever your native currency is, Bitcoin is becoming more scarce over time, and that's provable, and that's on the blockchain, and that's immutable, and that cannot be changed. Okay, so anyway, we'll go over this. Traders say Bitcoin now faces two main scenarios: 16K or 9.6K. Again, this does coincide with my kind of the TA that I've been breaking down if you guys have watched the recent crypto convo. So I'll just look over some key points here. Let's keep it simple. 11.5 key level, if weekly close above, equals 16K. So it has to close this week above. So that's Sunday. On Sunday, it has to be above 11.5K, which makes it likely to bounce back up to 16K. If it closes below 10.5, which is obvious support, because obvious 10.5 might do nothing like 6K, and I don't know, this guy obviously doesn't, English is not his first language, and that's okay. I give props to any bilingual, multilingual people, because I can't speak another language for shit. Okay, so that said, it does need to close the weekly above 11.5K, in this guy's opinion, for a shot to 6K. Let's move down here. So here's what you don't want to see, is a bull price with a false break high and now stair-stepping down. So you know what, I'll just bring it up so I don't have to just tell you guys what I was talking about. I'll just show you guys in real time. Okay, so Bitcoin, again, it's currently at $11,355. Again, this is what he means, like lower highs. It's obviously created a downtrend. It is no longer creating a higher high. So when it hit down here, it created pretty much the exact same low that it set back in early August. So it is now technically in a short-term downtrend. Again, you guys, it's still in a very macro uptrend. This is just on the 4-hour chart. Once again, you guys, if Bitcoin does break to the upside, so you can see here, this is the reason 10.4K is an obvious line of support, because it used this. We'll go to the daily, because the daily is what's really important for Bitcoin, in my opinion. Very long-term bullish on Bitcoin, if you guys couldn't tell by this point. So again, 10.4K used this as a high, significant area of resistance in May of 2020 and February of 2020. So early this year, a strong line of support right there. Obviously, previous resistance is new support. That's TA 101. So it makes sense to me that is the likely pullback. If Bitcoin continues to pull back, that wouldn't surprise me at all. See a healthy correction down back to 10.4K. I know that is a pretty significant pullback, but you guys, if you want to play in this game, you have to be able to stomach those. I mean, I've experienced so much worse than that. So this is pretty chill, to be honest. So yeah, a pullback to 10.4K would not be bad. The worst case scenario, which could very well happen. I don't think it will personally, but it very well could. So again, you guys, what initiated the recent bull market? And in my opinion, we are in the bull market. This is almost guaranteed in my mind. We broke out of the multi-year downtrend. Okay, so you see this, just significant downtrend. That's why you see when it broke this diagonal line right here, we saw that breakout, and we've been seeing the breakout since in Bitcoin. Again, you guys, pullbacks, healthy correction. Worst case scenario is about 9.6K. what I think is more likely is it bounces off like the 10.5K region and then continues to move up. Once again, just for fun, if it does play out and hit, it coincides with these two uptrends. This one's a lot weaker. This is the most optimistic scenario in my mind. So 19.5K Bitcoin by the end of October. I think a $17,000 Bitcoin is pretty likely, just because that's where we saw a few highs set back in the 2017 bull run. Okay, so that makes sense to me. Again, just to keep it simple, I think we'll see at least a $15,000 Bitcoin by the end of October. So that's pretty broad, I know, but that is my money's on it. So, okay, that is Bitcoin. Let's move on to this to close it out. Before we get into this, I will quickly look down the watch list and just give you guys a quick breakdown. So Ethereum, altcoins, all bouncing around, all green so far on the day as far as trading view is concerned, at least. So, I mean, that's good to see. Again, all the crypto-related stocks saw some hard times. You know what? We'll take a quick look at Riot. We'll take a quick look at Riot and Mars. So Overstock saw a significant pullback. I'll show you guys Overstock quick because we didn't cover it in the crypto convo. So Overstock is using this line. If it continues to go up from here, it has officially set a new low. I expect this is a pretty conservative uptrend line for Overstock right now. Sorry, I'm so zoomed out. So this looks pretty conservative to me. I wouldn't be surprised to see Overstock once again retest this at some point. And again, you guys, Overstock, I know it comes off its main business is it's like a furniture retailer, like a discount online furniture retailer, but they own T0. If you look back in 2017, that's what these lines are right here, and you can see it perfectly bounced off this line that we had drawn. If you go back to 2017, which is pretty far back, look how Overstock went so parabolic. So back in 2017, late 2017, early 2018, we saw the rally. Overstock has a subsidiary called Medici Ventures. That is their crypto venture arm, and they own T0, which is cryptocurrency exchange. So that's why in 2017, when crypto rallied, Overstock rallied. We'll probably see the same thing. And now Overstock's primary business, which is the furniture e-commerce, is doing extremely well as well. So it's a double-edged sword. I think Overstock is personally a great buy right now. I haven't altered my portfolio to reflect that belief, but we'll see how this plays out. If it does continue to go up, I'll probably reestablish a position. If it breaks down, I'll look for a correction all the way back down to this area where it's at this initial high around $75. At that point, if it pulls back that far, I will definitely establish a position. Riot blockchain, again, we've covered this a lot. Not much to say here, you guys. Riot and Mara both. I just want to let you guys know that I've been picking up like the whole way up. If you guys were along for the ride for these crazy rides up in Riot and Mara, then you guys would know that my rule of thumb is like for every roughly 20%, this is about it, not exactly, but about what I execute in my portfolio personally. For every 20% move up per share price, I'll take about 10% off of my total position, okay? So I'm taking profits along the way up, and then on the way down, I'm reestablishing my position in like larger and stronger, okay? So that's how I play these. Again, you guys, if you're part of the portfolio, you know I definitely could have played these better. I admit that 100%, but never beat yourself up for not making the perfect trades, because it's nearly impossible to execute every trade perfectly every time. So just don't beat yourself up. Keep your eyes on the price, keep your eyes on the long term, and that's really the message that I can't reiterate enough. And you guys can tell because I say it so freaking much. Okay? So that's Riot and Mara. Once again, keep you guys posted on that. We will finish off. Actually, no, we'll go down the watch list and then we'll take a look at this, and I'll read you guys this very beautifully written little piece by this TradingView analyst. Okay, so we'll go down the line here. Gold, again, silver, all the miners saw a lot of red today. But if we scroll down to the bottom, it's good to see silver bouncing nicely. So silver on the day up 2.9%, gold. So I imagine the miners and any gold, silver related trust stocks will do well tomorrow. That is good to know. That excites me personally because I am pretty heavily positioned in a lot of gold miners and silver miners. CRISPR, Editas, Genomics, they've been pretty flat. Again, Moderna, all the biotechs, COVID-related biotechs not doing so well. Square doing well. I mean, Square, I'm so fundamentally bullish on Square. I'm not playing it personally, but been a big fan of Square for a long time. Jack Dorsey, the owner of Square, founder of Twitter, still CEO of Twitter. Huge Bitcoin proponent, if you guys don't know that. So his Twitter bio, he's the creator of Twitter, and his Twitter bio is a Bitcoin emoji. He specifically created a Bitcoin emoji on Twitter because he's such a fan. He took a trip around the continent of Africa preaching Bitcoin because Africa is the next up and coming. Watch you guys, like 50 years from now, Africa is going to be probably one of the global superpowers. Like they're going to be the new China. Okay, so keep that in mind. Just a little fun, not necessarily a fact, but just fun to think, food for thought. So cannabis, been flat. I still think cannabis is undervalued, but I'm waiting for a rally. 5G saw some pullbacks today. Marvell going flat. The entire market. So on the news of test kits, which is so okay. So like test kits means that people can get cleared prior to flying, but nothing. That's not a treatment. That's not a cure. Jim Cramer, Jimmy boy, old Jimmy Bob, tweeted. I saw a tweet that he was saying that, like, now that the test kit's unveiled, then he would buy airline stocks. Why? Rationalize that. That's just a test kit. Now you just know if you have it or not. You can get tested, but that never stopped anyone from traveling before. You want to make sure that you don't get sick. And I guess they could make it so you have to get tested and you have to prove that you are negative before flying, but they're not going to do that. So that's a stupid comment in my mind. Lemonade Palo Alto Network saw some negative today. VIX, when the markets get volatile. VIXI is literally an ETF built for that. I do have some VIXI calls personally. Check out the portfolio once again if you want to know exactly what those plays are. And then gold, silver, yeah. So, yeah, market. We'll see how tomorrow plays out. I'm excited. I mean, today, as you guys are watching this, we'll see how the market today plays out. So that said, let's move on to this and take a look at equities. Once again, this is long, so you guys sit back, grab some popcorn, and let's go through it. I'm not sure how many people on this site have read Reminiscences, that's a tough one, of a stock operator, but it's frequently heralded as one of the best trading investing books of all time by people all over the financial media. I read it a while ago, and while I think it's a good book, I only read one of the main concepts. Really only one of the main concepts presented stuck with me. The idea of market breadth. During one of the spectacular market rallies in this book, our fearless protagonist is long stock. However, one by one, the stock he's long begin to trade sideways after they run up. He begins to sell them and then short them as the market continues to charge higher. Until the market stops rallying and begins a precipitous plunge, the higher the market went, the fewer and fewer stocks were rallying, and those that were previously leaders began to taper off sideways trading. It was the leading indicator that the rally was losing steam. So remember that, you guys, after a steep run up, when things start trading sideways, this applies to almost every stock you ever play, it's likely to see a pullback. While this is an anecdote and narrative, I believe that we are in a similar scenario. More and more market-leading stocks have begun to trade sideways over the past several weeks following a huge rally, and fewer stocks are acting as a buttress to the stock market. The market's made all-time highs this week in the least convincing manner ever, poking all the important technical level twice on low volume. More and more large cap leaders are beginning to trade sideways, and the only four stocks supporting the market are AMD, Nvidia, Tesla, and Apple. I'm sure you guys are familiar. Again, AMD, Nvidia, chip makers, they've been killing it. Apple and Tesla, I don't even need to say those names. Everything else seems to be in a zone of indecision. On top of that, we are at all-time highs at this point in the midst of essentially the worst fundamental or real economy backdrops in the last century. I know a lot has been said about this, but this kind of situation isn't good for a huge majority of businesses, of course. Like small and medium-sized businesses are annihilated. Look at the difference between the QQQs and the IWM. I'm going to be honest, I have no idea what those are. While I don't believe that a crash is around the corner, I've become extremely cautious in my outlook. The market could continue rallying, but until we see further breadth in the rally, I'll be pretty scared. Breadth is important, and the market can't survive as the Apple and Tesla show forever. At some point, we'll bump into a point where the buyers run out of steam, and the breadth is indicating that could be very soon. Market breadth is declining, and the market is being held up by four stocks. Careful with your longs. I mean, I 100% agree with this. You can see here the chart, like very nice overlay he made here. Obviously, Tesla, this just wild-looking parabolic stock right here is the green. Tesla leading a lot of the equity indices. What is this? The video right here, I think Apple is this blue one. So you can see especially because you have to remember, like the S&P is market cap weighted. That because these have such big market caps, it doesn't take. Like if these go up, it's almost guaranteed that the equity indices will go up. If stocks with huge market caps go up in price, they're carrying, like they need a back brace because they are carrying the equity indices that are on their back. Okay, so keep that in mind, you guys. He said it so well, and this is kind of along the lines of everything I've been saying over the past couple of months. Just to once again touch on the fact the market and the economy are so dislocated right now. And I know you guys, the Fed, as we just covered, they're just going to keep printing and printing and printing. It does create an inflammatory environment. Look at this. Like the stock market is the ideal example of inflation right now. So everything is traditionally, historically overvalued. Obviously, it's not overvalued because people are buying it because it's the value that it's at. Historically speaking, from a PE, price to earnings value ratio, the market is significantly overvalued right now. All stocks are inflated, and that is the real-time example of inflation, of what trillions of dollars printed trillions of US dollars printed in our economy shows. And that is the stock market. And that's what gives everyone the illusion that things are good, but they're actually super objectively bad. And trust me, I'm good. I'm like like super grateful for all that I have and all of you guys, the community, like the great community we have here. And if you're in a good place, just be fortunate, but you still have to be real and keep things objective. That's a huge part of being a trader is this sometimes shitty objective reality of things. And you have to stay objective, and objectively the economy is trash, is in a terrible place right now. I really hope it gets better. I'm very optimistic on the future of humanity and the future of the human race, but I do think that this one is going to hit hard and it will take time to recover from, unfortunately. But again, that is the objective reality that I deem valid. Okay, so sorry to end on a sour note like that, but again, you guys, please let me know down in the comments below if what your guys' thoughts are on any of the topics that we covered today. If you've been having a hard time, I know, like, again, if a lot of you have been watching the channel, I imagine it's because you're bullish on some of the sectors we cover, and if that's the case, I know that you're hurting. I'm hurting as well, trust me, but at least we're all here together. We have community, and that's the beautiful part of being involved in the market. That's like I like the YouTube channel. Honestly, makes me way more excited to wake up in the mornings, and like the newsletter and stuff, going to write the newsletter in the mornings makes me way more excited to wake up than trading itself and the money. Okay, because money's cool, but I mean, community is way better and way more fulfilling, and there's a lot more fulfillment there. Okay, so keep that in mind, you guys, and I look forward to learning from you guys and talking shop down below. Once again, do the last shout out. 7-day free trial will be over for the newsletter and portfolio by the end of this weekend. So I will do it. I'll do it probably like the last few days, last week or so of each month. But yeah, I'll pull it for the majority of the beginning of the month, obviously. So this goes down. 7-day free trial expires this weekend. Check it out if you want to. I appreciate it if you do. It's a good way to just support the channel if you want to do that, because I do put YouTube is all right in terms of ad rev and whatnot, but it's not anything significant. So this is a good way to support me if you want to do that. I truly do appreciate it. But if not, no worries at all. It's perfectly fine. I appreciate you guys for watching me, especially if you're here up until this point, just hearing me ramble. So truly do appreciate you guys. And until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace. Oh, wait, no, there we